All right. Both Matt O'Dowd of the PBS Spacetime and the Science Asylum have videos about how time causes gravity, and they act as if it is mind-blowing information that you don't need gravity as a force. But then they both say, well, what causes the time to flow? What is the cause of the gradient of time? And they both say the cause is the infinitesimal, can't say the word correctly, infinitesimal. I'm pronouncing it as it's spelled, but anyway, so Matt O'Dowd emphasizes that you do not need quantum mechanics to understand why time flows, because relativity relies on the infinitesimal, and that explains why time flows. And the Science Asylum YouTube channel, also states the reason time flows is because of the calculus. And that's it. That's all you need to know, right? But so these are both top physics science channels on YouTube, and everybody relies on them to learn their so-called truth of science. And they're both deferring to mathematics, to the calculus. So if you turn to the mathematicians, is that what they say? Do they say time originates from the infinitesimal or the calculus? Well, Roger Penrose, who's a mathematical physicist, he now says that the origin of time is from noncommutativity, and he calls it fundamental time. And math professor Lou Kaufman says the origin of time is not the calculus, but it's noncommutativity, and he calls it primordial time. And Fields Medal math professor Alon Kahns says that time emerges from noncommutativity, and he calls it primitive time. And then quantum physicist Lee Smolin also argues that time originates from something more fundamental in quantum physics, and it's not just a byproduct of measurement, of a mathematical measurement. And so quantum physicist quantum physicist, physics professor Basil J. Hiley emphasizes that at the 0 point, there already is a flow of time before any measurement. And this is, again, due to noncommutativity. And I've personally got a long reply about noncommutativity from Professor Basil J. Hiley. And so why is it that these top science channels make absolutely no mention of time originating from noncommutativity and not the calculus? Well, as my own quantum mechanics professor, Herbert J. Bernstein, emphasized, most people learn classical physics first in high school, and therefore they learned the wrong foundation of physics. And the true foundation of physics is quantum mechanics, and it's not from Schrödinger using the calculus, but it's from Heisenberg using noncommutativity from the matrices. And this is due to the origin of spin. And spin is not a wave, and it's inherently non-local, and it's also non-commutative because of the 1/2 spin of the electron and the 1/2 spin of the relativistic mass of the photon, also called the supermomentum of the photon. And this is what Louis de Broglie first discovered with his law of phase harmony when he was critiquing relativity from the perspective of quantum mechanics. And he pointed out that as a particle goes towards the speed of light, then its frequency as quantum momentum increases in frequency, but due to relativity, its time also increases as it gets bigger and slows down as time variation or dilation. And ever since Pythagoras, this is it's well known that frequency is inverse to time, and therefore, if frequency is going up, then time must be getting smaller and not getting bigger by slowing down. So logically, Louis de Broglie realized the only way both quantum physics and relativity can be true is if there is a negative frequency and reverse time from the future. And this is what Roger Penrose refers to when he proposed that consciousness is based on negative resonance, also called the quantum beat. So the quantum beat is a reverse time or reverse precession as a subharmonic or undertone from the future. And so this is another way of explaining Louis de Broglie's law of phase harmony, but also tying it to what the proto-consciousness of non-locality of quantum physics. So noncommutativity, as Alon Khan explains, is how our brains perceive reality by doing an inverse Fourier transform on space-time directly, and not on an algorithm, but on an actual time frequency resonance, so that there's a signal from the future that our brain then is converting to a photon signal. So it's like a virtual photon and reverse time signal. And that so that the primitive time is the future and the past overlapping. And Stuart Hameroff explains how this is what athletes call being in the zone when they see external reality in slow motion, because their internal brain is processing everything so much faster. And it also explains precognition, when you can have visions that are more real than being awake, and they're more lucid and more scintillating perception that transduces all perception from a non-local source from the future. And it's also impersonal. And Professor Basil Hiley says this is a newly discovered force. It's not an energy, because it's before amplitude is squared as a probability. So it's a complex phase as the non-commutative phase of time and frequency. And it has to be done in a quantum algebra as a discrete measurement if it's done in science. And the weak measurement experiments empirically prove the truth of this reverse time signal that's guiding matter from the future. And this is what Yakir Aronhoff calls the negamass. It's also referred to as the shadow of light. So the top science channels on YouTube are actually misleading people about the foundation of reality. And I don't think they're doing so intentionally. I think they just got on a career track where they're more focused on their careers and trying to get good grades and having a good career than they are about learning the truth of reality. And they need to just keep digging deeper and studying mathematics on a deeper level. Thanks.